Hey, what's going on, guys? aarava here. Welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 career. Episode number 38 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 2 here at Suzuka. If you guys did miss the previous episode at the Russian Grand Prix, uploaded yesterday, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But going into this race weekend then, we have had no R&D cutscene here for any reset. We haven't even had an email from Carl about an R&D reset. So I'm going to wait till next episode maybe at the USA. We might get an email or a cutscene or whatnot. But I'm starting to believe now, with only 4 episodes after this one done, I don't think we're actually going to get a reset. So that's going to make things very interesting because, of course, we will leave Haas for a team and we'll be leaving Haas in in a very good position at the very top of the table. So, there might be a chance that Haas are the very team I'm trying to maybe fight against, or they're maybe the dominant force next year without me and just as an AI team. So that'll be very, very intriguing to see how that plays out. But for the sake of the team performance then, as we continue on to the end of the season, more movement. You can see McLaren now are ahead of Force India just about by a whisker, and Renault are just under Mercedes there. And so soon enough, Mercedes, if they're not careful enough, they could move to the 4th worst team on the grid, just ahead of the kind of established bottom 3 teams of Sauber, Toro Rosso and Williams. And McLaren are looking to maybe get ahead of Force India now, building some momentum there. You can see Ferrari still remain with a big gulf to Red Bull, and Red Bull and myself haven't upgraded since the Singapore Grand Prix. I think we'll probably be making some updates though in the next 2 episodes, once we confirm that the R&D reset isn't happening, because I may as well then spend all my points basically if I'm not going to be spending them on saving parts for next year's technical regulation change. I may as well just basically spend them on new parts basically for Haas before I leave the team. So we're going to get into qualifying then for the Japanese Grand Prix and see how we do there, and just plow on really with doing the best job we can every single episode.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session, where we should be underway shortly. And I'm here, of course, with Anthony Davidson on what has turned out to be a very pleasant day indeed. No weather to interfere, no problems on the track, so absolutely no room for error.
That's right, Crofty. It's looking good out there at the moment. Each team will have their own game plan for this session, and of course, once the cars leave the garage, they'll be under parc fermé conditions, so any last-minute adjustments need to be done right here and now. Beyond that, it's all up to the driver. Who can keep their tyres in the right temperature, who can hit their apexes. No race fuel on board these days, of course. These are the fastest cars we've had in a long, long time, and it's right here in qualifying where they're at their absolute peak. Let's get started.
So heading into qualifying then for our first one lap in Q1 at the moment. Hamilton going pretty well, surprisingly, but I don't think that will stay for too long. It's at the very start of the session anyway. At the moment you can see nice and easy in the first sector, having to find some confidence, definitely under braking for turn 1, trying to find as much speed as we can in there, and through to the last corner, then across the line it will be. It won't be a particularly amazing lap, so for the second time now, or third time really in a row, we're going to have to go for another flyer in Q1, but this time round I won't be needing to kind of burn another set. I'm actually just going to use the exact same set of super soft tyres, and you can see there in the top right we are finding just more pace just by going out for a second time and finding that extra confidence of just braking out a little bit later, maybe just taking more speed into certain corners. And so we're up into P11 then, and it's just about getting through to Q2, so not too fussed about that. But at the moment Alonso looking strong once again, Perez right up there, Vettel though ahead of the Red Bulls, and my teammate again right up there as well. Always does well in Q1 as of late, so we'll kind of look into how it goes in Q2 and try and get into the top 10 shootout, of course, and see if those likes of the Mercedes cars will make it through or not. And I would say probably not if you would kind of look at the performance chart. So let's see. You can see in that first sector was a much cleaner run in turn 1, much smoother run into the S section as well. I felt like I carried way more momentum in the entirety of sector 1 really. So I think this Q2 lap time will actually end up being a lot better than a Q1, and will be a little bit more strong in terms of relative to everyone else. But you can see at the moment the Red Bull cars are looking pretty damn handy as well. So we'll see. We're going to have a fight between the Red Bulls, and it looks like maybe Fernando Alonso once again will be up there as well. But Vettel also posting a pretty fast time, so maybe Suzuka is going to be a lot closer than I actually thought it would be compared to the last few episodes then. As we cross the line, we actually go provisional pole there. In the end, we're only beaten by Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen setting a pretty good time. But you can see it's all really close there. Magnussen a little bit down the order, but Hamilton does get knocked out, and so both Mercedes cars do not make it into the top 10 shootout once again. Leclerc actually not too far off Hamilton's lap time there in Q2. Van Dorn gets knocked out though, surprisingly, compared to his teammate up in P2. So yeah, some very, very odd kind of things there. in Q2. It's still baffling to me how fast Alonso is, and Van Dorn just can't seem to bring it together. I don't know if that's just a case of the AI difference, or just Van Dorn just keeps getting unlucky with his lap times there. We'll have to see. But now trying to carry forward that pace we had in Q2 into Q3 across the line though, and it wasn't an amazingly brilliant lap time there, using a set of scrub tyres, and so we'll go for a new set. And as we fast forward through, we're down to P6 then. As we go out to the lap, we're down to P7. Fernando Alonso just ahead of us, and Ocon there. So I think maybe plenty of us have a lot of improvements to make here in this second run. You can see already gaining a decent amount of time on the exit of turn 1, and then also through the entire S section, carrying a bit more momentum there, keeping it in 5th gear, letting the car just roll through, and then up the hill as well, just keeping it in 5th gear, little lift off there, and then plant the power, and then as we climb the gears there, gaining that time and keeping that time as we go into the Spoon corner then. Might scrub off some speed a little bit through this next left-hander because I'm not too great compared to AI, and then flat out on the power then, and we might even go to overtake mode there on the ERS. Of course, overtake mode is faster in a straight line on 7th and 8th gear than the hot lap mode, so going to that. And at the moment we're actually purple in the second sector then, so doing pretty damn good. But actually I think that purple flash maybe put some pressure on me, because then into the chicane you can see I just snag at the first apex a bit too much, and so for the second apex of the chicane I lose a bit of time there, and as we cross the line to go purple in the second sector and then to only finish up in P8 was really devastating, surprising for me. I was in shock there. I thought we'd at least get P4 or P3, but no, it's P8, way down the order. So we have a lot of work to do in the race. I feel like that's not really a representative place of where our pace is. I think we should be right up there with Magnussen, but to be honest, it doesn't matter, because actually I haven't even noticed it yet, and I'm just going to address it now. Carlos Sainz in the Renault is on pole position in the Works Renault team. So it's not the other Spaniard, Fernando Alonso, it's the other one, the younger one. Carlos Sainz has done a fabulous job. His teammate's down in P10. He's absolutely whipped Hülkenberg a new one, and that's crazy to see. So Carlos Sainz will be on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. My teammate finishes a front row in second there. Verstappen, and then 2 Ferraris, the Force India, and then Alonso and myself, and then the other Force India and Hülkenberg. But crazy scenes there in Q3. Okay, so we'll see. I mentioned the Renault's had a bit of an upgrade at the very start of this episode to try and maybe close up on Mercedes, but I don't know, just Sainz had a mega lap in there and just pulled it through, found the time there, and well, a very deserving pole position, a surprising one nonetheless. So we might have a very exciting race on our hands if Carlos Sainz can be at the very head of that train to maybe keep things interesting there. So let's go into the intro then and go to the full grid.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a driver's championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, and it's Kevin Magnussen in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Fernando Alonso, the engineer, Ocon, Raikkonen. They've taken a grid penalty, Ricciardo and Sergio Perez, Van Dorn, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Ericsson, Bottas, Hartley, Sergei Sirotkin and Nico Hülkenberg. Gasly and Lance Stroll rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, so thanks to some grid penalties there, you would have seen on the intro grid, we're up into P6 now, and Hulkenberg, ironically, is all the way down to P18 now, whilst his teammate is still on pole position. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this shapes up, but myself and Alonso really gained from those penalties with Raikkonen and Perez also having some. So we're up here in P6 now, and the strategy will be a 2-stop, it looks like, on the default there, and the 3-stop is apparently the more aggressive strategy. I think last season some people did try a 1-stop. I'm basically going to see how things go for the cars around us, and I'll follow along with what the cars are doing around us, because I don't want to kind of do an alternate strategy and end up kind of being the odd one out and kind of left out to dry maybe if it's the wrong one. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the Japanese Grand Prix, round number 19 of here, Season 2. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. They're on for an age there, but it's a good getaway for us and a horrible one for Sebastian Vettel up ahead as Alonso streaks ahead into turn 1 though. It's going to be tricky and Vettel will have a chance to get back here. We're just going to be behind and I can't really go anywhere right now, trying to suss out where some kind of room is. And meanwhile, we've also got Verstappen and Magnussen side by side here, so we've got 4 cars stacked together and Carlos Sainz is getting away as we're going to try and still suss a move around the outside maybe of both Alonso and Vettel. We're finding the traction there and it's a beautiful move on the outside of the right-hander there. In one foul swoop, we get Alonso and Vettel, 2-for-1 deal. Thank you very much, and we're up into P4, and that's a fantastic getaway and probably one of the best starts I've made on lap 1 for a long while there. It's, usually I've been going backwards a little bit or staying put, but that's a really great start from us. Nice and aggressive, saw the space, found the traction mid-apex, quite surprising. I was kind of feathering the throttle, trying to figure out if I had enough grip there, and I did, and so just made the move work, and that might be due to my little bit higher downforce than maybe the default is on the AI, so that might help us actually, and definitely I'm feeling like it's helping me in Sector 1 for sure to keep up with the cars ahead of us there on heavier fuel, so that might be a good advantage at the moment in this first half of the Grand Prix. But Carlos Sainz meanwhile still leads the way and setting a purple lap time there as we move on to lap 2. So the young Spaniard's doing a great job and not feeling too much pressure for now from first place and his first pole position in Formula 1. But now you can see as we move on to lap 3, everyone's setting purple. Sainz, Verstappen, Magnussen, and then myself as well as we cross the line as DRS now is enabled. So the top 4 is getting very close, as well as Fernando Alonso there as well. So like I said, Sainz being there and the maybe quote-unquote slower Renault might hold things up and maybe bunch this pack up quite nicely here for the first part of the race. And here goes Magnussen now on the next lap down the inside. He tries an attempted move at Verstappen, doesn't work out though. It's always going to be difficult to overtake Verstappen, especially to a corner like that where it's kind of pretty much who has the bigger balls to break later there. And I'm sure Verstappen might win that out against Magnussen there, although I think both drivers are capable of some pretty feisty moves. But now, speaking about Magnussen, we're going to try another move down the inside of this left-hander there, up the hill. We tried a similar move last season, I think, and we got caught out. But again, in that same part of the track where on lap 1, I found the traction on Alonso and Vettel, we almost found enough traction to go around the outside of our teammate. It just doesn't work out there on lap 4. We have to stick behind. He does some good defensive work there into the next 2 right-handers. So we have to wait until the back straight on towards 130R, then down the inside, lifting off mid-apex though. I don't want to wash out wide and push my teammate off circuit here, so I might have not lifted off if it was someone else, but Magnussen's there. He's my teammate. Need to respect him there on the outside, so he's going to keep that position, but he's going to come in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I kind of got a bit of karma there in terms of I'll let Magnussen go in 130R, and he came in straight away, and so he's not going to hold me up anymore. And that was perfect timing because Alonso now is finding the speed with DRS there for himself on the outside of turn 1, but we do some good defensive driving, keep our wits about us on the racing line, and we're able to keep P3 for now. Verstappen and Sainz continue on. So an early pit stop then from Magnussen, so definitely he's going to be doing a 2-stop here, it looks like here. I'll be interested to see what everyone else does, as now I think that's Sainz in as well, so Sainz will pull the 2-stop as well, and Verstappen will continue on for maybe one more lap, and also Alonso is in. Vettel stays out with us. No, he actually comes in as well on the top left, so Raikkonen's the one that stays out with us then. And so as we move on then to lap, the end of lap number 6, we're going to come in now, I think, with a lock-up on the front right. I think the tyres are starting to go off a little bit. Verstappen's in, will come in, and like I said, we're going to basically cover off and keep in with everyone else, basically, and keep on the same strategy. So we're in now for a set of soft tyres. We'll go to a second set later in this race, so the soft can't really go that long as much as I would like to. So we come in. Verstappen's already made his pit stop then and come in, so we have to find like maybe a second or so to try and catch up to Verstappen. But it's going to be interesting to see where we come out then against Magnussen, who got a great undercut. There is a Williams car, so a bit of traffic. There's Carlos Sainz, who will re-overtake Verstappen for the effective race net lead. But there is Magnussen then, and the undercut has worked out, remember, because we are pretty much neck and neck and now he's got a good second or a bit more on us. And actually, ironically, Alonso's undercut did not work there, because I think he's found himself behind Esteban Ocon. But as we move on then to the next lap of the Grand Prix, Sainz trying to get past the Williams car there, and once again a Williams will form a bit of a head of a train here of Sainz, Verstappen, Magnussen, and it will allow myself and also Ocon and Alonso to maybe catch up here. So this is going to be very intriguing to see if they can't get past. You can see there immediately then pretty much nose to tail the Renault, Red Bull and Haas, and I think that's Sorokin again maybe. So again the Russians doing some good work for me potentially, because here goes now Sainz on the back straight. He's going to maybe get past the Williams car down the inside of 130R. No DRS, remember there, but pure straight line speed there for the Renault. I think they must have upgraded their power unit this weekend maybe. I think that's maybe the minor upgrade they had, because they look a little bit more punchy in a straight line. But now you can see I'm right behind Magnussen, who is also right behind Verstappen and Sainz, so we could have a bit of a four-way scrap here on our hands as we set the fast up of the Grand Prix now, using the soft tyres to good effect. Magnussen will try it round the outside as Sainz has gone round the outside of the Williams. We'll try and follow him on the outside of my teammate there. Sainz on the outside of the Williams, he's made the move stick, and I have so as well on Magnussen. And now can we try and catch Verstappen napping on the left-hander on the outside of him now, and also Lance Stroll. It's not Sorokin, it's Lance Stroll, my bad, but we've got the move done, and so it's two outside moves, and it's a great sequence of corners. And once again, I'm not dawdling, and I mean business here at the Japanese Grand Prix. I can feel it now as we go on through the laps. I'm feeling more and more that I could try and win this Grand Prix here. We've got the speed, especially in Sector 1, with the high downforce setup I have on the car compared to the default AI. I'm feeling a lot of speed through there, and the car is just flowing so much. I think I've got the suspension and the anti-roll bars bang on really, so feeling really good for the rest of the race here. And you can see there behind us the Williams is holding up the Red Bull, Verstappen and my teammate as well, unfortunately, but you know, you can't really control everything, but they're holding up those guys, an absolute treat. And so we're going to be able to maybe close up on Sainz, who gets held up again by another slow car of Pierre Gasly, that will be. So this is quite funny actually, my driver vibes coming out at the moment. It's Gasly v Sainz v myself. This is all very nice at the moment there, and I didn't think I'd be seeing us three on track battling hard like this before after my drive ended. So now here we go on lap 10, trying to catch up through Spoon maybe, but I think we'll have to wait until the back straight then through 130R. We'll definitely have a chance here as we go through mid-apex though. We have a little bit of a look around the outside. Doesn't work out, but we got the traction, and here we go now. No DRS, but pure slipstream. Overtake mode on the ERS. Rich mix going. We'll pull to the right hand side. Sainz on the left, and we'll go 3 wide into 130R. We're on the outside of both cars though, and we make another double overtake in this Grand Prix. I'm loving the double overtakes apparently this episode. We did Alonso and Vettel, Magnussen and Verstappen, or even Verstappen and Stroll, however you want to look at it. And then we've got Gasly and Sainz. Great stuff there. But as we move on to the new lap then, Sainz has a good exit, and you can clearly see the Renault definitely has improved its engine power, because Sainz is going to send it down the inside. He's definitely licked the samp and sent it, and on the inside of turn 1 he bangs us into the apex, and he quite forcefully tries to take back the effective race net lead there. And so Sainz gets the elbows out, gets a bit dirty, and he's got the move back up into P8 on the road, and P9 we have to settle for at the moment. So we have to try and wait around and re-overtake him if we can onto the end of lap 11. We're a bit patient through the final chicane. We'll try and get this done in the same place he did to us into turn 1. We'll have DRS. You can clearly see we've got a lot of battery power stored up for the ERS as well, and also some fuel to burn. And so as we go through the last corner, then nice slingshot off that, a little bit bumpy on the exit, but DRS flap open, gaining the slipstream there, gaining, and into turn 1, pull out into the inside, and we are going to swoop into what will be P8, and I hope is going to be the race lead by the end of this thing. We've got a lot of traffic coming up though, Leclerc ahead of us, and then we've still got 6 other cars to maybe see where they're going to come out. So I think most of them are probably starting on soft tyres, maybe they're going longer, maybe outside the top 10, so I don't know if they'll pull off a one stop. But down the inside we go of Leclerc, squeeze him out quite forcefully a little bit, and he kind of holds up Sainz in doing so. And we actually had yellow flags whilst I overtook Carlos Sainz, and for this reason actually, unfortunately, it's going to be my teammate that spun around on the edge of the Williams car. So this was, as this was happening, I was right behind Sainz in the last chicane, sizing up that overtake you guys saw on the live feed. But this is a replay now, and Magnussen just gets caught out 3 wide there, and the one on the inside either has to lift off, or that's gonna happen, and clearly Magnussen did not lift off. and so that's really unfortunate. He's broken a bit of his front wing. He's going to have to make an earlier second pit stop and might have to go onto medium tyres to drag that last stint long to the end of the race. But now we move out up into P6, but it's going to be Van Dorn that surprisingly comes out ahead of me on medium tyres. We go on the outside of him into turn 1, the exit there, and make a lovely little move on a McLaren once again at Suzuka on lap 13. But surprised that Van Dorn actually ended up just ahead of us there on the medium. So I would suggest he's going for a one stop then, as is Daniel Ricciardo. We're now chasing down Ricciardo. We're P2, Ricciardo's P1, Van Dorn is in P3, and 1 and 3 are doing a one stop here. So they might have a good chance, because P4 then is Carlos Sainz, then you've got the Force India car, and then you've got this gaggle of cars of the Valtteri Bottas's Mercedes, then Vettel, the Renault of Hülkenberg. Actually, he's made a good recovery drive there. But if Ricciardo and Van Dorn are trying one stops, they might have a really good shot here, actually, because I have to overtake Ricciardo, and then I have to pray that I can pull a one pit stop gap, which is going to be very, very difficult here. So it might end up being a kind of outside shot here for Ricciardo and also Van Dorn at a very good podium after I slagged him off in qualifying about being nowhere near Fernando Alonso. So fair play to Stoffel for the strategy call there, as we now close up then on said Daniel Ricciardo on lap 14, closing up to 130R overtake mode here, and we're just flying through on the inside there. Little fake to the right there, but Ricciardo probably wasn't too fast, but he can kind of just back down and kind of accept the overtake there, because he's going to continue on. I'm going to come in very forcefully there. I break the little brake marker board on the inside, but no damage done to the car. It's fine. And we come in for our second pit stop then, I think literally 2 laps after I made that overtake. So I didn't even have too much time to try and pull off that, you know, quote-unquote one pit stop gap there. So myself and Sainz come in, and I think it's looking very likely that we're going to have to try and re-overtake now Van Dorn and Ricciardo, and also maybe some other cars as we come through here. We've got a lot of cars on medium tyres here ahead of us that start outside the top 10, of course. They didn't have to qualify and start on those super soft tyres in the top 10 shootout, and so they're going to be able to do this one stop very easily on mediums. But the medium tyre isn't too great around here, I feel, so we should be able to pull a decent amount of time. It's just about if we can try and make the overtakes as quickly as possible. And speaking about doing that, we go very nicely on the outside of Ericsson then in the same exact spot. That corner, it pretty much might as well rename that corner to aarava corner at the moment here, because I'm making so many overtakes there and I'm finding so much speed there. It's a really nice flying section, and like I said, I think I've got the car set up just about bang on here as we move on now to lap 18. A little bit slidey through the last corner, but we're going to get up into P4 then. But Lewis Hamilton is on mediums ahead of us, so we have to overtake not even just Ricciardo and Van Dorn, also have to overtake Hamilton, who might fancy an overtake before we get to him on Ricciardo here, as we just about managed to wring the neck of the car as we go towards 130R. Here goes Hamilton then. We'll sit back here with some popcorn here and just watch this fight go on. Hamilton, the outside of Ricciardo there, makes some contact, and Ricciardo's round. He's on the grass. Yellow flags are out, and the virtual safety car has been called out for that very move there. And so that's a bit controversial. I think Ricciardo might have lost some front wing there on that little accident there. And so Hamilton, a very questionable move there on the outside, but the virtual safety car comes in then. And so now it's us up into P3, and we're chasing after our fellow countrymen for P2. And then on the mini-map, I can't even see where Van Dorn is yet. I think he's already through Spoon. Yeah, there he is, just on the edge of the mini-map there. So I think Van Dorn has a very good advantage here. So let's wait and see what happens really with Hamilton here. We've got a fair few laps still in this Grand Prix to do some work here. But as we catch up to Hamilton, you can see up the hill that, you know, that Mercedes car might be piss poor as of late, but it's still got some decent traction there, and it's not too shabby in a straight line still. And obviously you guys have been pointing out that I don't have an immensely amazing power unit behind me. I have still a pretty decent one, but it's not all inspiring, so we'll have to see how we go. But at the moment, Hamilton is doing pretty damn well to keep me at bay. But now going through to the main straight with DRS aid, we might have this hot lap mode and then overtake mode as we shimmy through the gears, and then here we go, climbing, but it's not going to be enough yet. Into turn 1, Hamilton goes a little bit defensive there, and we just have to close up behind him, get right up his gearbox, maybe suss out a move here in sector 1. We have obviously made a fair few moves in these corners, so let's see as I try and dance the car around and try and find the room, find the racing line I need to make a move around the outside, but get on the curbing a little bit there. I try it, you can see I have a little look on the inside there. I tried to maybe sniff out if I could do that classic move that I've been pulling off this entire afternoon on Hamilton. Didn't work out, so we have to wait until the end of lap 22. Last sector here towards 130R now. Back on overtake mode on ERS. Rich mix going. And here we go now, climbing to the inside of 130R. Will it be a nice and easy move? Hopefully, for our sake, it will be. And we go flat out there, squeeze Hamilton out. But Hamilton keeps his foot in, so fair play, and he actually outbrakes me on the outside. We go very, very deep though on purpose to try and squeeze him out, but then I get dealt a bit of karma here, because on the exit, hitting the bumps a little bit, going a bit wide, and so I get a bit of grass on my tyre, and Hamilton's able to pull back through, so I think that's a kind of a bit of luck coming back for Hamilton as I squeezed him out there, maybe a little bit unfairly. He comes back at us with DRS, and he's able to get that position, but we come into turn 1, and we just about get that. There's apparently a legal overtake. The virtual safety car comes out, and then neutralises that. So, a very confusing part. You can see that I slowed down, because I thought I need to let Hamilton through, but no. But, there's a virtual safety car out, and it was pretty much at the same point that I was side by side with Hamilton, and for a split second it said I had to give the position back, but now I don't, so I think I effectively got a free P2. I'm not going to complain about that, and I'm going to keep that position, yeah, very, very odd situation. I mean, to be fair, it looked like Hamilton was about to swipe across and take me out to turn 1, so I'm kind of really happy the virtual safety car came out here. And so on lap 23, we're going to lead Hamilton in P2, but the man that will actually be leading the entire thing is going to be this man in the McLaren Renault of Stoffel Van Dorn, which is pretty crazy to say, because he was in P11 or P12, I think. Didn't qualify in the top 10. I slagged him off, like I said, and at the moment he's looking very, very comfy to winning this Japanese Grand Prix, which would be amazing, because, obviously Alonso's been the McLaren in the spotlight for, the last couple of episodes. He's got now, 3 wins or 2 wins for the team, and so Van Dorn will finally get a win from McLaren, and pretty much Van Dorn getting a win from McLaren might solidify and show that McLaren is, meaning business. It's not just Alonso's AI, it is the car that also is working very well, and so it might legitimize their team as, coming to the forefront maybe very soon. Speaking about bouncing back here, we still have a big train and race to settle for a lot of these guys in the kind of bottom half of the top 10 there, including my teammate who's just at the back of that train, and he's making a nice comeback on those medium tyres from that little crash and incident he had. And look at this, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in 130R, all nearly side by side. The Ferrari and Red Bull are side by side, and they're actually behind the Sauber there, so I think that's maybe Leclerc doing a great job so far, but Raikkonen is going to chase after then. I think that's Ricciardo with the damaged wing after Hamilton's incident, and so here he comes now, the flying fin, maybe a different kind of fin, obviously, on the outside then of turn 1, and he's going to make a really great pass. Look at that, lovely camera angle to show the nice elevation change, and Kimi is past and through on the outside, and then it will be the turn of the other fin, Valtteri Bottas, or maybe even the Renault HOCKENHEIM. Look at that, they're all trying to move around, try and shimmy out for some space, and so Bottas down the inside there, Magnussen trying to go down the inside of the other Sauber, and trying to also maybe get the Renault soon enough through the last chicane. Will Magnussen be able to do this? I think at the moment he's just outside the points. If he can make this double overtake work, then he could get into the points paying positions, which would be a very good recovery, considering he had to make a kind of an earlier pit stop when he wanted to on mediums. And so as the Sauber overtakes the Renault, Magnussen's going to go right on the outside of both of them, and it's a bit of an awkward camera angle to look at, but he does make it happen. You can see on the exit there, and he does get through. It's a beautiful move there for Kevin. Great stuff there, and clearly at the moment you can see the Haas car just generally working well for those moves on the outside of the circuit, especially in Sector 1 there. So nice drive from Kevin to recover there. Really, really great drive. And so we're going to come through on the last lap of the Grand Prix then, and it will be Stoffel Van Dorn that's going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. GG's, fair play, fair play. After, Fernando's taken all the limelight in the McLaren team, it's good to see Van Dorn's AI come through, come good, and he's won a race there. As you can see, I have a bit of a mare with a lock-up on the front right, but would have come home with a really well-earned P2. It could have been P1, but in the end, got to put my hands up. Van Dorn's strategy was better, but I beat everyone else, so I'm still very, very happy with P2 here today. Great fighting out there.
The boss will be happy with that one.
McLaren have pulled it off. They've won in spectacular fashion here today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I think the key here is just the quality of the racecraft, I mean, how many overtakes did they make overall? I'm sure we have a stat person keeping score somewhere, and it's fantastic to watch, wasn't it? This is a strategic sport at the end of the day, but it's always really gratifying to see close-walk battles on track. It's what all the fans are after.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So in the end, it was the other McLaren that came out on top and a very unexpected win there. Carlos Sainz still finishes up in a pretty decent P4, and I think he'll still come away happy with the pole position. Renault will be happy with that, you know, little glimpses of maybe Renault coming to the forefront. You know, the two, apart from Red Bull, the two other Renault-powered cars have been looking really, really good this season. They've been steadily improving so much, and without an R&D reset, it looks like maybe at the end of the season, going to Season 3, both Renault and McLaren could be looking really good to join their other Renault-powered counterpart, Red Bull, maybe for a top fight in Season 3. We'll have to see how it develops. But at the moment, for us, for our sake in the championship, looking very, very strong at the moment, though. It's not wrapped up quite yet. We still have 4 episodes to go, and mathematically, Magnussen can still win it. In the Constructors as well, Ferrari can still pull it back, so still have to chime away. It's not over until it's, you know, said and done, and we've actually got the trophy in our hands. So we keep on pushing, and that was another really great race for us. Unlucky for Magnussen, but I think we can bounce. Hopefully, he can bounce back in next episode for his sake. Let's go into the last questions then for the interview, and then round out the episode.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change?
And like I just said, no, I don't feel like it's already won. We still have a lot of work to do, and you know, it's not going to be in our hands until it actually is in our hands.
You seem to have issues with fuel efficiency. Does your team need to invest in that area?
Question on our fuel efficiency. I thought I'd go with the power unit comment on the left-hand side. That might actually end up being a bad thing for morale there, though.
Appreciate your time.
But in the end, I'm not too fussed about it, so it's all good. I mean, the mechanics, no, I don't mean any bad by it. But as we move on to the rivalry, then we're looking good to maybe beat Vettel by the end of the season on that rivalry. We start a new one with Magnussen, moving through to the end. So we've got a lot of resource points saved up now. And like I said in the last episode, you know, I was waiting around to see if we're going to get an R&D reset. I'm gonna leave it one more episode, give the game a benefit of the doubt, and see if we get an R&D reset kind of email or cutscene next episode. If not, the next episode I think I will end up spending some R&D points then and actually putting, you know, the savings to use here. But guys, if you have enjoyed what was a really entertaining Japanese Grand Prix, probably one of the best lap ones I've had in a long while, then smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been Ava. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.